When did you first discover the true meaning of confidence, and describe the moment and or event?
Well, it goes back a long way. It goes back to probably 1976 when I was a brand new ad salesman in a little paper in Connecticut. And in those days, technology wasn't what it is today, so it was still hot lead, making a newspaper from molten lead type and things like that. And they didn't think out of the box a lot. And I had an idea that we could do a special section that was never done at the newspaper. And if I remember right, it was called Springtime. And my idea was to have the newsroom produce the actual fill or editorial content of the section. And we would go out to advertisers and sell them ad space tied to a story about their business. So it was sort of like advertorial, not real news content. But the difference was that it would actually be written by professional journalists in our newsroom. And of course, back then that was heresy. Well, even today, I suppose, it would be a little bit of that. But the publisher, who became my mentor and a wonderful fella, turned me loose. Now, you have to understand, I was a brand new sales guy. There were 4 or 5 other people in the department that had seniority on me. My boss, the ad director, was against the project. But the publisher, my mentor, said, let him try it. So I organized an assault, if you would, on this with our chief photographer, our society page editor, our city editor, and my colleagues in the ad department. And we went out in this small 22,000 6-day afternoon newspaper and sold a 68-page newspaper section with $175,000 in it in 1976 dollars. That's a lot of money. And became the talk of the market. We won a big award, first place award, in all of the New England newspapers at a convention. And as I thought back when I finished that, and I said, you know what? It really gave me the confidence that I could motivate people, I could focus on a mission, and I could get it done, particularly in a situation where it was never, ever done before.
So you've always been somewhat of an innovator then, or always looked to kind of do things that other people haven't done.
You've got to, in my judgment, you have to think, how can I make it different? Not the same old, because it never works. Oh, you might have 50% success, or it may be the best of what was done before. But wow, what a feeling when, oh my gosh, we never ever did that before. And it was a home run. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. What characteristics are most important to you as a leader?
Well, I guess number 1 on the list would be integrity. If you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. You can't motivate people. People won't believe in you. You're a phony. And phonies don't make it. So, in my judgment, you have to have a very high level of integrity. What I mean by that is you don't make up things. You don't mislead people. You don't set up a phony scenario. You don't provide a level of misconception through BS, if I would. You are able to intellectually and factually have a high level of integrity on whatever it is you're dealing with. Dealing with people you manage, dealing with a project you're undergoing, dealing with the public, particularly in a newspaper situation. If you don't have integrity in your newsroom, you'll fail. If you don't have integrity in your sales department, you'll fail. If you don't have integrity in your circulation department, you'll fail. Think about it. If no one believes what you're writing, it doesn't matter. If no one believes that their ad money is going to be well spent, it doesn't matter. And if you can't deliver the paper, if you confuse the subscriber, you don't do what they say, doesn't matter. So integrity. Then you have to have, I think, vision. You have to be able to see the big picture, not just the road you're on, but where you're going. How does that affect stuff around you? So you have to have this sort of wide vision. Then, I've always believed that goal setting is very important. You have to have sort of what I call a stretch goal. When we do a budget here at the Blade, we have stretch goals. Well, okay, we're going to be able to make this ad number for the year. Well, really? How difficult will it be to get there? How much more is it than last year? Well, it's a 7% increase. Okay, let's budget 10%. Now, I know if we get 7, and it's 7% better than prior year, that's a good thing. But let's shoot for 10. Let's make it better. I've always believed that if you give people that kind of a stretch, and you do it the right way, it's not phony, you'll get there. And what's the worst case scenario? You don't get to 10, you got 7, which is your budget, which is better than last year. Then I think you have to have a, what I call a get it done attitude. One of the most frustrating things I deal with here, and there's 8 department heads that report to me that run this newspaper, is, well, we're that close. Well, it's going to happen next Wednesday for sure. Well, I've talked to so-and-so, and they've promised me that Friday that'll be done. And then the next week we have another staff meeting. Well, you know, we're that close. Well, is it that close or is it that close? So you have to have the ability to exhibit a leadership trait called get it done. You have to be able to convince your subordinates that close enough ain't good enough. You have to be able to convince them that the best thing they can say when you ask the question is, yes sir, we did that last Tuesday, or that was done this morning, or come with me right now and I'll show you, we're about to kick it off. So you have to, and I think that's a leadership trait that appeals in wherever you work. You can be making ball bearings for General Motors or shirts for Van Heusen. Get it done, get it done, and get it done right. There's another interesting trait that a lot of people don't talk about, and I think you have to have ambition. And ambition in the right way. It's great to be rewarded in your salary for doing a good job. It's great to get a bonus for exceeding a goal. Down deep inside, I've found folks that lack ambition, they ain't going to get it done. You have to have that sense of, I want to succeed. My ambition is to be the best at what I do. Am I always going to be the best? Oh my gosh, no. How many mistakes have I made every day today? I mean, every hour today. How many mistakes have I made this year so far? Lots. But I have the ambition not to do that. I have the ambition to succeed. And I think if you throw all that in there that I've talked about, you'll be pretty successful. But always remember this, none of that matters if you don't have integrity.